Hello and welcome to Accelerate You, where we hope to provide you with low cost and often free resources to accelerate you. Guess who's back in the stage, folks? It's my partner in crime, Purnell, Corey Spate with Pens with Personality by Purnell. And of course, it would not be Valentine's if we didn't have the man in the house. So thank you for coming to the beautiful North Carolina Wesleyan campus to talk to me about all things low cost and free on the topic of love.
Yes, ma'am.
How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic.
Big Valentine fan or no?
I am actually.
What kind of things you do? You love love.
Actually, please don't crucify me. Actually, on Friday, I'm going to my high school basketball rivalry game. So I've already got permission to go.
Okay.
The wife is going out with her girlfriends. She's actually off next Wednesday, so we're going to do our Valentine's Day then.
You could not have done a better segue into this because I hate to go out on Valentine's. The whole Valentine's weekend, because that's a popular weekend for people to go out and celebrate. Mm-hmm. So you're going to do the Wednesday after.
Yes.
See, that's something I would do. That's very smart. I would have done last weekend or the weekend coming up next. So I think you're very, very smart. But, you know, a lot of people do go out this weekend. So if you do go out to dinner or whatnot, the movies or whatever, pack your patience because I think it's going to be super, super busy. But, you know, our goal here is to provide you with low cost and free resources for everything that we promote, and today is going to be Valentine's and whatnot. So let's talk about it. You know, I always think of Valentine's as, you know, flowers and candy. Mm-hmm. Where'd that come from? Where'd that come from?
Well, I learned that the art of sending messages through flowers is called florography. And that dates back to King Charles the 12th of Sweden.
Wow.
How he took a trip to Persia, and that's where he learned of the language of love through flowers. And it became popular, and I believe it was maybe in the 3rd century. But,
wow.
But yes, it's called florography.
Florography, and I'm not even sure I can say that. So the 3rd century, we have been celebrating love. And of course, they didn't have Valentine's back then. So you're saying that this was just something, flowers were associated with that warm and fuzzy feeling.
Yes, ma'am. And eventually chocolate weaved their way into it as well.
Chocolate weaved their way in. Well, chocolate's got to weave their way into everything, right? I mean, that's just how it is. So the 3rd century. What do you know? What are the 2 most popular gifts that most people give on Valentine's?
I would say we already nailed it.
Flowers and chocolate.
Yes, ma'am.
Flowers and chocolate. Mm-hmm. Well, you know, free. Right now is not the time to go out in your yard and really pick anything for free because nothing's in bloom. But I can tell you that your big box retailers, your Food Lions, all have flowers in right now. I bought a tremendous bunch yesterday. It wasn't quite $20, and it's a giant bunch of flowers. You could really split it into 2 if you had 2 people to give to. Not saying you have 2 people that you love, but maybe your mom and your girlfriend or your husband and your dad or something like that. I don't want to get you in any sort of trouble. But so you can get a big bunch of flowers at your local grocery store for less than $20. And I also picked up some boxes of chocolate, the cheesy little ones in the heart, which is what you got to buy, and they were, I think, $7.
Okay.
So that's pretty cheap, right? Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people, and I don't know about you, but it is super easy to dip strawberries yourself. If you like chocolate dipped strawberries, I just haven't seen any in the store.
Okay.
Have you seen any?
I have not.
I did not see any yesterday at the grocery store, but if you do see any, it is super easy to do on your own, and you can do it in the microwave even, melt your chocolate. And you can't hardly get any cheaper than that because a bag of chocolate is less than $4. Mm-hmm. So that'd be pretty cheap there. So what would you said your wife's going out tomorrow with the girlfriends, and then you're going out on Wednesday. What'd you do on Wednesday?
You know what? I am an extreme planner. However, every now and then I like to be spontaneous, so I'm trying to highlight more of my spontaneous side. So she's already said, yes, let's do something. So we'll find out what that something is together. So I don't know.
You don't know. Do you think that you'll lean towards the tradition and like have some food in there, or will it be a basketball game? What do you think?
Definitely, because the way we met, actually, we went out for pizza, and I wasn't actually planning on eating. I was going to buy her lunch, but I mistakenly left my wallet, so she ended up buying lunch for the both of us. So, so it's tradition. Usually, whatever we do, food is involved.
Okay, so food is involved in your Valentine's. Yeah, and I think that's probably true of a lot of folks. Where did this, you've talked about flowers and you've talked about the love language of flowers, but do you know anything about the history of Valentine's? Is this just a made-up holiday? Where did it come from?
Well, you know what, with history, it's crazy because, I mean, just to be frank, you don't know what to believe.
True.
You know, who's to say what's on the internet and Wikipedia and what you've been taught in school this whole time is true. But from what I learned, even though it's not certain, there were several gentlemen named Saint Valentine.
Saint Valentine.
There could have been three. You may look it up and see two, but they were called Saint Valentine. And one was a priest, one was a bishop, I believe. And the smart people say these two gentlemen may actually be the same person.
Oh.
However, the priests were basically put in jail and eventually executed because they proclaimed their love for Christ. The priest in general was put in jail because he was marrying young Christian couples when I believe the Roman emperor at that time had forbidden young soldiers to get married. And because of that, Saint Valentine became a martyr for spreading love, and eventually Valentine's Day blossomed out of that.
Wow. So Saint Valentine, whether he was one or two men, was a promoter. He was a Renaissance man,
Yes,
promoting
yes.
love and marrying people when it really wasn't allowed. And unfortunately, now do we know for a fact that he was executed or?
Sources say yes,
Okay.
and I believe some church, I forgot where, but has preserved some of his remains.
Oh, okay.
I believe, I think they still have his heart somewhere, but yeah, he's, so if you go there, you can see Saint Valentine.
Saint Valentine.
Who was supposed to be Saint Valentine.
Okay, all right. So we have some potential religious start of this holiday with one or two people in terms of love and marriage. Do you know when it became somewhat commercial?
I believe it dates back to the 1840s when it became popular, especially in the United States and the United Kingdom.
Okay, okay. Do you know when it became popular, were those folks in 1840 doing the same thing we're doing in 2025? Flowers, chocolate, dinner, did it say?
It wasn't clear. I would imagine that it was just a day chosen to, profess your love. Hey, let's do this, let's do that. And then eventually the cards, the candy, the flowers, the food, and the whole rigmarole of Valentine's Day as we know it today, came about or came into fruition.
I would imagine that probably a lot more cards back in the day, because there wasn't text, there wasn't email, there wasn't fill in the blank. So we probably did send a lot more cards 100 years ago, and that was probably a really big deal.
It was.
To receive a card in the mail from someone saying, "Will you be my Valentine?" Do you remember those from when you were a little kid? You'd get one for everybody in your classroom, and your mom would get the little box, and you'd address them to everybody. I think those are so cute. I don't know if you can find those anymore.
You probably could.
Little kids don't know what they're missing out on, what we did 30 years ago.
Right.
So, you mentioned a day in which we celebrate love. But it isn't just a day anymore, is it? There's some other pre-days and some things that go on. So, can you share some of those days with us?
Sure. Well, to our listening audience, you may have heard of something called Galentine's Day. And that is actually the female equivalent of Valentine's Day, and it's pretty much showing sisterly love.
Sisterly love.
So
the day before Valentine's, you have Galentine's.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And the men, however, we're not left out, gentlemen. We have what's called Valentine's Day, and that's actually the first time I've ever heard of it.
Valentine's.
But it's a day for you to show your bromance, so
You
to
got
speak.
your bromance, but they both, whether you're doing the bromance or the galentine, it's the 13th.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so it's both those same days. Do you know what the week before Valentine's is?
Other than the week before Valentine's Day, no, I don't.
Believe it or not, the week before Valentine's. This is according to the internet, so don't quote me on this. Largest breakup day of the year.
Oh man.
Largest breakup day of the year, the week before Valentine's. What the heck's that all about? Is this for our non-committal folks? What's going on? You're a man. What's going on?
Oh man.
The week before Valentine's. Did everybody getting cold feet? What happens, you think?
Well, I probably would, and I haven't done any research, but I would say aside from Halloween and Christmas, probably Valentine's Day is one of the most commercialized holiday where people really go all out to show their love, and they probably spend a pretty penny. So maybe, hey, they're breaking up.
I cut my losses.
They're breaking up because they don't want to break the bank.
Okay, I don't know. I really don't know, but I do know, and I have researched this several times, that the week before Valentine's is supposedly the largest breakup day.
Oh, wow.
But now this is what I'm going to give you a free piece of advice here. Last week would have been the week to find you someone to love.
That is true.
Because there was somebody out there looking. They just maybe they just didn't know quite yet. I love that saying, if you can't be with the one you love, love the one you're with.
I like that.
So there you go. So like I said, too late for this year, but go ahead and mark your calendar
That's
for
right.
next year. Get yourself out, wander around a big box retailer, auto parts store, something, feed
right.
store. We got that new big, supply store in Rocky Mount. You can go wander over there. So yes, the week before. How do you think, we're sitting here sort of making fun about the flowers and the chocolate, and I think of that for maybe folks who are new to the love game. But for those of us who've been married for a while, I know you said you're going to try to be spontaneous next week. I already told my husband. I looked right at him and said, I ain't doing nothing. Not a thing. Don't be looking for nothing, because I'm not doing nothing. But how do you keep the love alive?
Oh man.
How do you keep the love alive? Clearly not being married to me.
You just learn how to keep the ship afloat. I would say, and when I say ship, I mean relationship.
Right.
You learn how to, ride the wave, so to speak. Sometimes there's going to be high tide, low tide, and you just got to ride it out together and have fun with it by being spontaneous and showing your love. Love is an action word, it's an action verb. And I believe when you say it, you are showing it because you are taking the time, the action, and the energy to say it and profess it. However, don't do that special someone a disservice just by giving lip service. Show it and mean it, because love is everything. And I believe if the world had more love, we'd be in a much better space than we are now.
I have to agree with you there. So for our audience that maybe is listening and that have been in a relationship for a very long time, what is your advice? Should they go buy the bunch of flowers?
I'm going to answer that twofold. In order to keep it alive, to keep the sparks flying, you have to know your partner.
Okay.
Know the ins and outs, what makes them tick, what they like, what they don't like, because you don't want to get them chocolate and they're allergic. So know your partner, know the person that you love, and love what you know about them, because that's what make the relationship work. And speaking of flowers, I know it's maybe old-fashioned, but flowers are symbolic. As we just talked about, florography, it sends a message. Flowers are beautiful, and I think it represents that someone can bloom and blossom into a beautiful person where they're loved, where they're nurtured, where they're watered, where the light, is shown on them. So even if maybe she doesn't like flowers, or that or the man doesn't
Yeah,
like flowers,
the man.
send the message through the flowers and show them, I think, as Whitney Houston said, the beauty that they possess inside, but it also represents, the beauty on the outside.
The effort. So it sounds like my co-host is saying, yes, do some sort of acknowledgement.
Definitely.
Do some sort of
Definitely.
acknowledgement, even if you've been together for a really long time. So we already know this weekend's going to be a madhouse. Everybody's going to be out, and everybody's going to be trying to look pretty. They do. You're going to be trying to look pretty, right? So give us some tips. Look, we already know it's going to be raining.
Yes.
It's going to be, I think, 40-ish, so not great weather. This is the challenge I always have with shoes in weather like this, because I don't want to wear my good shoes in weather like this.
I don't either.
So tell me how to be stylish in the rain in 40 degrees on the weekend of love.
Well, I think, it depends on where you go. If you're going out to a traditional restaurant or a concert or whatever else, if you're going out in the elements, I would say dress comfortable. You don't want to look fly and feel miserable.
Right.
That's one of the worst feelings. So you always want to be comfortable, and when you're comfortable, you're usually happy. And you definitely want to be happy on Valentine's Day when you're taking your soulmate and your partner out for a night on the town. So I would say you don't want to look raggedy, but whatever your shoes are, just let them be comfortable. If you're inside the house, hey, I would say get dolled up. If you have it spread on the kitchen table or however else you like to do it, hey, dress to the nines, as they say, because you're in the house, so you're not going to get them wet or anything. And that really shows the effort that you're putting into how much you adore that person, that you're willing to lay the spread out on the table, that you're willing to put on a suit or what have you, and really show them not a night out on the town, but an elegant night right there in the house. Okay. So just be comfortable.
Put the graphic tee away. Do you believe, and I don't know how well this shows up on the screen, you're doing the kind of the traditional red, and I sort of have a berry color on.
Love it.
What does Valentine's, I think Valentine's red, but what other colors can we get away with on Valentine? You can get away with anything you want, but what says love to you in terms of colors other than red?
Other than red. So, of course, red is my favorite color. However, you can have variations of red. You can do a cherry. You can do, I love what you have on, a fuchsia, a pink, a plum, violet. Things that, come from the color red that are different. 'Cause not too many people wear pink. Yes, we have breast cancer awareness in October, but other than that, and maybe Valentine's Day, that's usually pretty much where you'll see the color pink. So, don't be afraid to wear it, because it's a color that both men and women can look very stylish in. But yeah, you can have variations of pink or plum, fuchsia, purple, violet. The list goes on. So don't be afraid to explore with colors, because colors make the difference.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right. And a lot of men don't particularly care for pink, but they do love red.
Right.
And of course, berry, I think, is a very universal color on all of us. So, but I do like your idea about the staying at home and looking nice while you're at home as well, because it does matter, because we tend to get a little sloppy at home, don't we?
We do.
We do. So that would definitely be something a little bit different. Now, what about the children, the little ones? Now, you have to remember your little ones, whether it's your babies, your grandbabies, the little kids in the neighborhood. Tell me some inexpensive things and because you've got a little one. So what is he looking for? What do they look for on a holiday like this?
Well, he's looking for a lot of candy.
Candy.
He tried to take some this morning before school, but you know what? I love to see, and I was talking to a gentleman yesterday who came out to school to have lunch with his son. And I just thought that was, even though it's simple and, it should be common sense, I just thought that is so adorable for, a father just to have some QT with a son. And, I implore, parents, take your children out on a date. I know it's, usually for the husband and wife, but, shower your children as well. Moms, take your sons or take your daughters to the movies, maybe without the husband, just so you can have that me time, or have it, even though you may not be able to do it Saturday, depending upon where you're at, because it may be raining, but go have a picnic in the park, with their favorite foods, and have some Valentine's cards and candy, flowers, whatever. Valentine's Day, as I get older and older, people want to be at peace. And so the way you can be at peace is just by spending quality time, because that's time that you're never going to be able to get back. So you might as well spend it the way you want with the people that you want, and just have a great times, because the flowers, cards, and candy, they're all going to go away. But those memories that you create are going to last forever.
And that time. And you're absolutely right. So a father speaking here with a little one, they're looking for the candy.
Yeah.
Okay, that's easy enough, man. You can't get any easier than that. The candy. And then you mentioned the time. And I don't know if I've said this before on the show, but I will. And if I've said it already, just say she's having a moment. But when employees are surveyed as to what's the most important thing to them at work, people are always going to say money, right? Money's the most important thing to me. I want to make as much money as I can. It's not money.
That's right.
People don't say money first. Now, money's up there. Don't get me wrong. But overwhelmingly, and even post-COVID, this is holding true even more so, time, flex time. They want to have a flexible schedule so they can either be with the child, take care of the elderly parent, do whatever. But time is the thing that we are rating as more important to us than money.
That's right.
In 2025. So think about that when you're standing there over at the big box store, or I'm not giving, I don't mean to have to go to Food Line, but I just happened to be there yesterday. When you're buying your stuff, what could you do differently? Could you just go see your mom and wash her car? Or could you just go see your mom and, fill in the blank?
Right.
Do a load of laundry. When I go to my dad's house, I do his laundry. Because he always asks me, do you go to everybody's house and do the laundry? And I go, no, but when I come here, I do yours.
Right.
So, can my dad do his own laundry?
Of course.
Yes. But when I'm there, I do it. So
And
there's
he
many
appreciates
things.
that.
I think yes, and I think he thinks it's funny. But it's not like I'm having to take it out back and beat it on a rock. I just have to put it in the machine, right? So there's many things you can do. And once again, can you bake? Can you you can buy a box of cake mix for $3-4 and bake a cake. So there's many things that you can do that really either are free or low cost. So think about that time. Think about what you can do. You going to go visit your mom after this?
I am not.
That was not the answer I was expecting.
Actually, I already told her, because she asked me yesterday, was I going to come by? But actually, I'm coming back tomorrow.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
my son has a doctor's appointment, so I'll be taking him
Okay,
to
so
that.
you are going to spend some time with your mom. All right, well, good. Well, we'll let you out of the doghouse. Well, believe it or not, our time is up, folks. So I hope we have inspired you. I hope we have made you think a little bit about love. Valentine's, the day next year, so you go to find you someone you love. And thank you so much for coming to the WHIG TV studios.
you.
We're going to do a little toast of our non-alcoholic champagne here. And you all have a wonderful day and a wonderful holiday. And thank you for tuning in.
That's right. Happy Valentine's Day.